energetic, we energize them. It's lovely to see the regular faces again. It shows that last year was great and this year is going to be better. Remember, that's what we believe in, be better than you were yesterday, and that's what we're going to be today. So we're going to make it thumping today, all right? So don't get surprised when you hear a bit of a rumble in the Bronx as well. We might turn this into a boxing match because, listen, we're on fire. So be expecting, don't sit here and think that nothing's going to be happening. You're going to be receiving. And if you're going to be on the receiving end of punchlines, that's why I say it's going to be a rumble in the Bronx. So you're going to get some punchlines, you're going to get some takeaways, you're going to learn some things. So I hope you got those pen and papers, you got your notebooks ready, because you're going to be jotting down like you're running for something. Be prepared, because it's Get Inspired Seminars 2016, and we're going to have fun and we're going to enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, as you see, our program, it's jam-packed. It's got a lot of powerful speakers, great speakers. Some are returning. We've got new faces as well. So we're really going to be geared up to make sure that you walk out of here an inspired person and you go out there and implement these things. And I guarantee you, it's going to work just like it's worked for us. Ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, I'm going to start preparing us to welcome our first speaker, who's going to just do introduction of the agenda for us, and he's our host, and I would normally call him our friend, you know, because today you're here to enjoy Veli and his friends. Are you with me? So we're sharing friends, and if you are a friend of Veli's, you are a friend of ours. Am I right? So we are all friends sitting here.
Are we awake this morning? Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm just so happy that you all made it here. And I would like to say these words before I start, that I'll pass this way but once. And if there's anything that I can do to everyone or to anyone, or any kindness that I can show, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall never pass this way again. I am Veli Ndaba, the engineered mind to win. Why is that? Some of you may ask. Professionally, I'm an engineer, a mechanical engineer. And engineering taught me 4 things, which is something that I've packaged everything that I talk about into that model. So those 4 things are, the first one, it taught me that whatever it is that you want to achieve in life or you want to do, you need to have a structure in place. It means you need to have a structure of how those things are going to be laid out. You can't just go on. When you build a house, it will determine your movements inside that house. And then number 2, it taught me that within that structure, you need to have a system. You need to know how things work. You need to know when does one thing happens, and for how long, and who does it. And then number 3, it taught me that you need to be able to maintain that system. So you can have a structure that is so great. You can have a system that is so powerful, but if you cannot maintain it, then it will all collapse. That's why we had something called load shedding in the past years. ESCOM had a great system, they had a great structure, but they lacked maintenance. And maintenance seems to be the difficult part of it, or the dirty part. But it has to be done, because if you don't do it, everything will just fall apart. And then the 4th one, it's around innovation. It's continuous improvement. If you go to companies, they're big on this. Because like I said earlier, that the thinking that brought you here has created a problem for you, which it cannot solve. So it means now you need to solve the current problems with a higher level of thinking. That's what it is. So without continually asking yourself, how else can I do this? Without continually asking yourself, what is the world doing so that I'm not left behind? What are you doing about it? So those are the 4 things that my talks are basically built around. So that's why you keep on saying, Veli Ndaba, the engineered mind to win, because I'm helping people as an engineer to re-engineer their mind. So you don't need to be an engineer. I'm here. You got the stuff. Just save some money from that. And this reminds me of a man who was sitting at home one Sunday watching his football match on TV. And he had his young son, about 6 years old, next to him. And as he was enjoying this soccer match, or football match, his son kept on asking him, "Daddy, what is this? How does this work? Daddy?" And he would answer questions until he got to a point where he was getting a bit irritated. And he looked at his young man and he said, "Wow, this guy is very active and I need to do something about his being busy." And when he looked around, he saw a newspaper, a Sunday newspaper. And he took it, and there was some sellotape next to it. And he saw one page. I mean, it was a full-on ad of the world as taken from space. So when he looked at it, he saw something that was big. So he teared it apart, and then he started tearing into small pieces. And then he said to his young man, "Boy, come here to daddy." And the young man went to his daddy. And he said, "You know what? I wanted to show your daddy how smart you are. And I wanted to put this picture together. And here's the sellotape. And here are these pieces of paper." And then he knew that it was going to take him a long time if he was going to be lucky. So he took the pieces of paper and the young man went. Sooner than expected, the young man came back. "Daddy, I'm back." Wow. The guy looked at him with some sort of like, with some, he was a bit surprised. And he said to him, "Are you finished?" He said, "Yes, I'm finished." And he said, "Show me." And he took it out and he showed it to him. It was together. Though it wasn't as neat as it could have been, but for a 6-year-old, it was great. And he asked him, "But how did you do it?" And the young man said, "You know, Daddy, on the other side of the page, on the flip side of it, there was a picture of a man. And I just focused on the man. I just put the man together. And when you flip the page around, you start seeing the world coming together." And the daddy called him and he gave him a huge hug. And he said, "You know what, my boy, I want you to remember that for the rest of your living days. When the man is together, the world will be together." Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, it is such a pity that most people are waiting for the world to be together for them. And the reason why the world is not together for you is because you are not together. If you come together, if you understand why you are here in the first place, you are not born just to follow others, just to fit in, but you are born to be you. And once you understand that you shouldn't be at the mercy of others, happiness is for free. Peace of mind is for free. And living your dreams is for free. But most of us are waiting for that day. One day when my kids are grown. One day when I win the lotto. One day when I get the rich one. The rich one, yes. But I tell you, the reason why you are not getting the rich one is because you are not the rich one. Because it's about the laws of attraction. And I'm saying to you, you are born to greatness and for greatness. And it's about the decision that you have to make. Because it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter who you are. But it's all about the decisions that you have to make. So the question is, what decisions are you making with your life? Because so many people are blaming things. I'm just reminded here of the man by the name of Howard Thurman. He was a spiritual guru and he was the advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. And he said something that is so profound. He said, all of us have the voice that is always talking to us. Deep down in our souls. The voice of reason that is always telling you who you are. But sadly, most people are always surrounding themselves with people who are telling them what to do, not listening to the voice of reason deep down in their souls. And he said, if you don't listen to that voice, if you fail to listen to it, you will spend the rest of your living days on the ends of the strings that somebody else pulls. It means you're going to be somebody else's puppet for the rest of your life. Why? Because you have failed to listen to the voice of reason deep down within your soul. Who are you? Your parents don't know you. Your spouse doesn't know you. And your boss doesn't know you. But the person who will tell you the truth is your heart. What do you love? What is it that you want to do that you can skip your meals when you do it? What is it that you will delay going to sleep or going to your bed because you love it? That's where your answer is. But most people, they are always listening and watching others. And I said when I spoke earlier on that we all need revelation. What is revelation? A revelation is just a divine or supernatural discovery or disclosure to humans about something relating to human excellence and human existence or the world. So if you don't have that knowing of what you have to do, of what your assignment is, you'll follow others. You'll be lost for the rest of your life. So if you're not being led by your heart, it means you are lost. And you find people say, what's wrong with you? He's got a long face. He say, I'm not happy. And I say, why? Because he didn't buy me flowers. I'm not happy because he didn't take me to the movies. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, you own that. That space is yours. Don't let the world dictate how you feel. You have a decision that you have to make every day. Most people that are not happy, if you ask them, why are you not happy? They point at the world, but they don't look at themselves. You have a decision to make. You've got to fight for what you believe in. You've got to fight for your stuff. It was the same man who said some words that resonate with me. He delivered a speech one day, Dr. Howard Thurman. He said, the ideal situation for a man to die is to have his friends and his family around him, praying with him as he crosses over, as he dies. But imagine if you will be on your deathbed, surrounded by ghosts of your dreams, ghosts of your ideas, ghosts of your books that you never wrote, the music that you never composed, the leadership that you never implemented. This ghost walking up and down your deathbed and looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you and only you could have given us life. And now that you are dying, we must die with you forever. So the question is, if you were to die tonight, what dreams? What ideas? What leadership? What music that will die with you forever? Because you procrastinated. You kept on saying, one day I'm gonna. One day I'm gonna. When my ducks get in a row, I'm gonna do this. And I say, those ducks will never get in a row. You've got to drag them and line them up and get going, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens. Don't wait for those ducks. And there are two things that are of interest to me. You know, when you go to the doctor, the child is crying, he's very agitated, and you take him to the doctor, and the doctor gets there and say, okay, the first thing that he checks is what? The temperature. He uses that instrument that is called the thermometer. The thermometer is the instrument that is used by doctors to measure the temperature. And it tells you it's 39, and they say the child is too hot. Or they measure, it says 36.5. They say, no, it's a bit cold. And they measure, and it says it's 37. They say, no, it seems the temperature is fine. But this instrument here cannot fix the temperature. It just reports what the temperature is. It's 37. It's 39. It's 40. So this represents certain people that always complain. I'm not happy. It's too hot. It's too cold. Don't have money. I don't have it. These people are letting me down all the time. You see, with that kind of complaining, this represents complaining, blaming and criticizing. There are people every day when they wake up, they're blaming the world. They're criticizing the world. And they're pointing fingers at everyone. Your life is just full of issues. Every day, they know you're just going, attending pity parties. Every day, you're just going there. Oh, my friend, they're letting us down. And if someone says, but you are responsible for that, you don't like those people. You like those that will cry with you and give you a hug and say, my friend, life is very unfair. You know, these people are bad. You don't say, no, we're not good enough. But you are blaming people. So I'm saying, take full responsibility. And then I come and I tell people how to change your life. I mean, like I say, without any hesitation, that 5 years ago, no one could have convinced me that I'll be doing what I'm doing now. But what changed? My parents didn't change. And my name didn't change. My family didn't change. But the mindset changed. That's the only common factor amongst all these things. If you change your mind, everything around you changes. So I'm saying to people, this is the formula that you can follow. They do it for 2 days, 3 days, and then they stop. And I ask, but why have you stopped now? And they say, no, but rules are made to be broken. I said, but you know what? Why break the rules? Why can't you move? Because you are complaining, you're not happy there. Yeah, but you know what? Better the devil you know than the one you don't know. You know, better, but you are stuck, you're not happy. Yeah, but better the devil. You know how things are out there. And I'm saying to you, when you think of that, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I prefer the devil or do I prefer the angel that has been waiting for me out there? Thank you. So it's not about the devil. You see, that is all based on your scarcity mentality, that common consciousness, that better have something than nothing. You don't operate from the other end of the spectrum, which is abundance. You don't ask yourself and say, if there's a half of a loaf here, who took the first half? I want the full one. I'm going to settle for half. I want to take the full one. So if you've got that kind of a mindset, that's what happens with entrepreneurs. They just go for what they want because they know that they were not born half. They were born full, and they deserve full as a result. So I wanted to know that you deserve a full. And others, they say if you succeed, it's just because you were in the right place at the right time. No, he was just in the right place at the right time. Yeah, but it did so well. No. You know, yeah, he was very lucky. He was just in the right place at the right time. And I'm saying to you, there's something that you have not been told. The critical thing is, you must be the right person, first of all, to be in the right place at the right time. But people don't talk about being the right person. They talk about being in the right place at the right time. You can be in the right place at the right time, but if you're a wrong person, you'll never see it. That's why even today people are still talking about tenders. Where are the tenders? People are coining it, they're getting the tender. So, but where are they? They've never even, because they're not the right people. The time is right, the place is right, the tenders are here. But because you're not right, you'll never recognize them. That's just an example. Not to say if you don't have a tender, maybe it's just because you're not the right person. And then the rules are made to be broken. The reason why you don't succeed is because you break the rules. The rules are made to be followed, ladies and gentlemen, not to be broken. And that's what we say. And if you know these things will reveal the truth to you. Because if you know the truth shall set you free. And I like Colin Brandt when he said that the truth crushed to earth shall rise again. It means you can hide the truth, you can speak ill of the truth, you can try to embarrass the truth, but at the end, it will stand and look at you right in the eyes and say, I am here, my name is truth. And Winston Churchill said that the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, and ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is, looking at you. Whether you speak ill of it, you embarrass it in front of your friends, but it will remain standing. So don't mess with the truth, ladies and gentlemen. What is this truth that I'm talking about? The truth that I'm talking about is that you have greatness within you. Is that you were born full, and you were born fine, but we were born into the world that defined us, that told us what we are supposed to be. But the truth is in your heart. Start listening to your heart, not what people tell you, because they don't know. Some people are living their fears through you. You know, a person that is dangerous is a person who has given up on his dreams to come and advise you. Because they will talk you out of yours too. Because people always want company wherever they are. They don't want to be alone. Others, they will say, you know, all men are the same. Okay, all right. Now, all men are the same. You know, all women are the same. But is that true, really? How many of you tried? I'm just asking, guys. I'm just asking. And now I just want to share with you three things. And when I say that, and there's something that we talk about, when you talk about things like, when you talk about commitment, and when you talk about someone who's very strong, and someone who pursues his dreams, and that's a man that also came up and said something. Theodore Roosevelt said something. He was the president of the United States during the 1901 to 1908. And he said something as well that resonated with me. You know, when you read something, he says, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I will seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I'll never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat, because it is my right and it's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to think and act for myself, and face the world boldly and say, this I have done. That's someone, ladies and gentlemen, who said those words at the end of his life. And even if you go back to the greatest book ever written, the Bible, there are words that were written by Apostle Paul, if I'm not mistaken. That was Apostle Paul. And people like it when people have died, or people have died, and then they start saying, I fought the good fight. But they say he fought the good fight. He finished the race, and then he kept the faith. And I'm saying, when you're lying there, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, did you fight the good fight? What was that good fight? If I look at your dreams, they were unfulfilled. If I look at your convictions, they were empty. If I looked at your goals, there were none. And I look at your family, I look at your career, it was empty. It was full of one day I'm gonna. And then you're lying there and people are saying, you fought the good fight? What kind of fight was that? And they say he finished the race. And I looked around, I couldn't see the race you started. But it is said that you finished the race. And thirdly, they said he kept the faith. Life kept on kicking you in the mouth and the face, and it just knocked all the dead in the face, and then you just lied on your tummy. And they said, yes, he finished. He fought the good fight. At the end, they say he kept the faith. What faith was that? When life kicks you, you never kick back. You never kick back. But then you are lying there, they are lying to you, saying you fought the good fight and you kept the faith. It is a challenge, ladies and gentlemen. It's a decision that we have to make today. Are you keeping the faith? Are you fighting the good fight? Are you fighting the good fight? So that's a question so these three things that I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the very first one is, you need to have a deep belief in your own somebodyness. You need to have a deep belief in your own truth. You need to have a deep belief that your life counts. You need to have a deep belief that you are not less than anyone else in the world. It doesn't matter who that person is. It's not about color, because I can tell you, if you can take a child that is born here in South Africa and you take him to China, by the age of 5, he will be fluent in Chinese. If you take a child in China, you take him to one of the Mandela squatter camps, He'll be so fluent and he'll behave like the squatters over there. So what does that mean? You are made by your environment. So the environment that makes you, you can choose it. So are you happy? But if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will lead. It means you'll be fine. So you need to have that deep belief that life was meant to be great for you. So are you happy with that? Do you believe in that? Or do you just follow others and what they say to you? And then I'm just fascinated by a garden. When you look at this, this is the garden. Do you see how beautiful it is? What makes it beautiful? We've got different flowers there. Some are short, some are bushy, some are very thin, some are tall. But the flowers, ladies and gentlemen, do not compare themselves to other flowers around it. The flower blossoms to the very best of its abilities. The flower blossoms, whether it's short, but it does the best it could, or it can. And that's the reason why you've got a beautiful garden, because the flowers don't compare themselves. The reason why you are not shining is because you are busy comparing yourself. I mean, I've got, I enjoy gardening. You've got daisies, you've got pansies, you've got snapdragons, you've got marigolds, you've got the goras over there. And when you look at the garden, I always look at it, to me, it represents how we're supposed to be as human beings. Don't want to be a copy of someone else. Just be you because you were born to be you. Don't try to copy someone else. Just to be the person that you want to be. And if you go ahead, there are people who didn't give up. I'm just thinking of this man by the name of Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book, Think and Grow Rich. If you read that book, there's something that he wrote that I love, because he was given an assignment by his mentor, who was called Andrew Carnegie. In 1908, he was the richest man in the world. He gave him an assignment to go and study all the successful people, the rich people, and find out what is it that made them successful. And he wrote some words that I love. He said, I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to accept and to use wisely the riches given to me at birth, in the form of the power to control and to guide my mind to whatever ends I may desire. What does that mean? All of us are born rich, but we are not born rich in the form of money, but we are born rich in the form of the power to control and direct our minds to whatever ends that we may desire. So what do you desire in life? For me, it's writing. For me, it's speaking. I don't know what it is for you. But if you haven't found that one thing that you can give all your time to, like Martin Luther King Jr., who said, a man who is not prepared to die for what he believes in is not fit to live. And he died for it. And Steve Biko came and he wrote a book, I Write What I Like. In that book he said, it's better to die for an idea that will live than to live for an idea that will die. So what is it that you are prepared to die for? I'm prepared to die for my speaking, to transform the world. I am prepared to spend my time writing and expressing my ideas. What are you prepared to die for? I don't know, whether for your boss, and people are saying, I'll take care of you for me, and please take care of me for you. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't work like that. That's the wrong way around. Every day you've got to say, I'm going to take care of me for you. Because I cannot run for you. I cannot eat healthy for you. I cannot read for you. But I can do these things to the best of my abilities. And then if I do them, it means I'm taking care of me for you. I'm going to be here for longer. So do take care of yourself for me. Because I'm not going to be there wherever you go. So if you do that, and these are the people who believed. I mean, until the 29th of May, 1963, the world had shunned at someone who wanted to summit Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain in the world. It's about 8,850 meters tall. That mountain had killed so many people. People tried to climb the mountain, but they died because it's cold up there. When I talk about 8,850 meters, I'm talking about, a Table Mountain is about 1,054 meters. If you take 10 of them and you stack them up, so that's the size of Mount Everest. 10 Table Mountains stacked up, on top of each other. But people died. But there's a man by the name of Edmund Hillary. He tried in 1962, he failed. And when he came back, the world said, but do you see how lucky you are? You nearly died. So just relax, get some coffee. Forget about this thing of yours. And he tried, and he went back again in 1962. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, he failed. The world said, you've been lucky twice now. Get 2 cups of coffee. Just to calm yourself down. He couldn't do it. And then he looked around and started searching for someone that will partner with him. And that person that he got was the name Tenzin Norgay. Tenzin Norgay was just a helper guide because this guy, Edmund Hillary, was just a beekeeper. He said, I want to climb that mountain. And they teamed up. And on the 29th of May, 1963, at 11 a.m. in the morning, they summited the mountain. They were the first ones in the world. And ever since, thousands of others have summited Mount Everest, including one young lady. She was in her early 30s. When she reached the top, and after that, she was so happy, and she came down, and she was asked by the reporter, young lady, how do you feel now that you have conquered the mountain, the highest mountain in the world? And he just looked at the reporter, and she said, no, I didn't conquer the mountain. No one will ever conquer the mountain. But I only conquered the limitations and the fears in me. Wow. What fears are holding you back? It's not the mountain that is holding you back. It's your own fears and limitations. So you need to work on your limitations. And then the other one, this is the man by the name of Thomas Edison. He tried 1,000 times to invent a light bulb. And he failed. But eventually got it. And he was asked by the reporter once again, Mr. Edison, what happened? Why did you not give up after failing so many times? 1,000 times. And he looked at them with so much surprise. And he said, no, you don't get it. I didn't fail 1,000 times. This invention here had 1,000 steps to it. I didn't fail 1,000 times. So how many things that you are going through that you are thinking that you are failing on? You're not failing. They're just taking you or bringing you a step closer to something that the world has never seen. And I want you to look at your failures, because you are not a failure. You are involved in something that has failed. There's a difference there. You are not a failure. Something you tried failed. But people are so absorbed. People are so into, yes, I failed this and whatever. It's not about that. That's the reason why most people who did so well at school, but when it comes to the real life situations, they don't make it. Because it's not about solving for X and Y. We're talking about real stuff here. It tests your character. There are times when you try to sleep, ladies and gentlemen, and things become so heavy for you. You try to think about things, you're trying to figure things out, and it doesn't happen. My wife can attest to that. I've sometimes spent some sleepless nights thinking about things. Say, what's wrong? I said, no, I'm fine. But I know that somehow I'm not fine. And this is something also that we need to think about. If I were to say to you, raise 1 million rands in 1 year, most people say to me, no, it's hard. I say, but just to see how good you can be, man, just 1 million rands in cash. And they say, no, it's hard, man, I can't do this. Why, man? Why must I go through all the pain? Then I just throw something in, and I say, if you were to raise 1 million rands in 1 year, and if you failed to do that, your child will be taken away from you forever. And someone changes. He says, my child? I said, yes. He says, no. Then I'll do whatever it takes. I said, but now what has changed? He said, my child is involved here, so I'll do whatever it takes. I say, wow, okay, because of that he'll do whatever it takes? Says, yes. Then now what's the difference, ladies and gentlemen? It proves once again that all of us have got abilities, but we lack motivation. We lack inspiration. We lack that reason why we are doing what we have to do. If you have to live your dreams every day, like that that person whose child is going to be taken away from him or her if that thing is not done, then you'll achieve so much. But because we are just casual. And I asked the third question, I'm saying, I wanted to raise 1 million rands in 1 year. And if you cannot raise that 1 million rands in 1 year, your partner, your wife, or your husband will be taken away from you. They say, wow, where are the forms? Take him now. That's what they say. No. Where are the forms? Is there anything that I need to sign? I think end of the year is a bit far. Maybe we can start tomorrow. You can take him. Or you can take, you see, it's all about reasons once again. Others, you just, you're so quick. But to your child, you can't say, okay, no. Take my child. I won't be able to raise this money. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be very strong and be focused on what you want. And I'm talking about belief. And Nelson Mandela said something. He said, it's only when you get to the top of the mountain that you discover that, wow, there are so many other beautiful mountains to climb. But you cannot see those mountains. I'm talking about beautiful mountains when you're at the bottom. Because the bottom is always overcrowded. Get out of the bottom. Get to the top. Because the top is a bit fresh. It's full of fresh air. The view is very clear. And there are few people there. And you eat what you like. Though it can be lonely sometimes, but you eat what you love eating. So get to the top, and you will get to understand that. And further, he said, it always seems impossible until it's done. Always. So keep going. And I like this man, Jim Rohn, one of the greatest thinkers. He said, when the end comes for you, meaning when that death comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down the old one. Let it find you striving, not complaining, blaming, and criticizing people. Because this is your dream. This is one thing that you are born for. So don't blame others. Take full responsibility. Don't blame your boss. And number two, I spoke about number one. I said the formula to change your life, first of all, you need to have a deep belief that you are worthy. In your own person, believe in yourself. And then number two, you need to have a culture, establish and develop the culture of excellence. When I talk about the culture of excellence, I'm just reminded of Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the book, The Outliers. In Berlin, it happened in Germany, that there was a group of psychologists who studied the violinist. They studied them from the ages of 7 to 25. And over a period of time, they discovered that others were so good, and yet others were just lagging behind. And on checking what made them succeed, those that were on top, they realized that they had put in more time on practicing their craft. But others, they felt that they were talented, they were gifted, and they were very casual. And then at the end, those that were masters were the ones who practiced more on their stuff than just believing in their own of talent. So what does that say? He wrote the book and he said it came up with the research found that you need at least a minimum of 10,000 hours to become an expert in your field, which takes about 10 years, because 10 years has been calculated as 1,000 hours in a year. And 1,000 in a year, it says, it calculated at 4 hours a week, or 4 hours a day. If you work on your craft for 4 hours a day, and you multiply that by 5 days a week, and you multiply that by 50 working weeks, and that comes to 1,000 hours. And if you multiply that by the number of years, which is 10, it becomes 10,000 hours. So it means it takes a minimum of 10,000 hours, which is equivalent to 10 years. But who says that you cannot make that or double that amount? Because that includes weekends. To see whether someone will be successful or not, you know how we see it? When someone knocks off at work, when you knock off, you go home. What do you do after hours will determine how your life is going to be. If you think of the axe, the axe that people take, or you are given an axe, and that axe you take to the field to chop down the trees. And the more trees that you chop, will be determined by how sharp your axe is. And during the day, there's no time to sharpen the axe. The axe can only be sharpened after hours. You know, when you go home, others don't even take their axes with them. They leave them at work. They'll see them tomorrow. Others, they take them home, they just throw them away there, and they just do what they do best. Pop that can of beer and watch TV and do whatever you do. And then others, they go to the workshop with their axe, and they're using grinding machines. They invest the money that they earn to buy these expensive things, like grinding machines, and they sharpen their tools. When they get to work the next day, they chop down 50. But others that chop 10, they continue chopping 10 or even less. So what makes you successful is not what you really do during the day, but is the result of what you do after hours. So what do you do when you get home? If you want to be the best, you've got to do, and you've got to put more time in what you do. For an example, for me as a speaker, I cannot just expect to be a speaker and then I go there and I speak every day during the day. I get home and I sleep. Just relax, I'm done. That's a job, that's not your craft. There's a difference there. Your craft is something that you work on continuously. But a job is an 8 to 4 thing. Once you knock off, it stays there. You'll never be the best at that. And that's a fact of life. And then I'm saying to you, if you cannot be the pine on top of the hill, or on top of that hill, just be the scrub on the valley. But be the best little scrub there is. Be the best little scrub by the side of the river. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot be the tall tree, just be the bush. But be the best little bush. And that if you cannot be the bush, just be the grass. But be the best little grass. And that if you cannot be the highway, just be the trade. But be the best little trade. And that if you cannot be the sun, just be the star. But be the best little star it is. For it isn't by size that you win or fail, but just be the best of whatever you are. Just focus on what you do. Because people who are the best in what they do, they worked on their stuff. Even if you are a sweeper, even if you are a cleaner, but sweep those floors so well, like Michelangelo painted those pictures, like Johann van Gogh, like the likes of Pablo Picasso painted their pictures. If you sweep those floors, sweep them so well, like William Shakespeare wrote his poetry. If you sweep those floors, ladies and gentlemen, sweep them so well, like Quincy Jones composes music, like Beethoven composes music. If you sweep those floors, sweep them so well, like Lady Gaga performs on stage, Beyonce performs on stage. Don't be half-hearted, but be the best of whatever you are. Don't just be a follower. Ralph Waldo Emerson said something. He said, if a man can write a better book, or preach a better sermon, or build a better mousetrap than his neighbor, even if he builds his house in the woods, in the wilderness, in the bushes, the world will make a beaten path to his door. If you are the best in what you do, the world will come to you. But if you are just mediocre, you'll be forever chasing the world, and it will be forever dropping its crumbs on the floor, and you'll be just crawling on the floor, picking up those crumbs. But if you are the best, you just choose what you want. So, who do you choose? The guy on the floor, or do you choose to go up there and choose what you want? It's your choice. And then step number 3, it's on relationships. Collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. Who do you have around you? There are 2 types of relationships, ladies and gentlemen. There's a relationship, it's called toxic relationships, and you've got something called nurturing relationships. Toxic relationships are those relationships that are dragging you, that always make you worse off. People always coming to you, complaining to you, and people always telling you about stuff that you cannot do anything about. That's toxic. When you try to talk about your dreams, they always say, no, but come on, get a life. Can't you do something better? Why would you wake up? Why would you go out out on a weekend, or just to go and develop yourself? Why do you have to go there and do this when it's so cold? And that's something, ladies and gentlemen, about the power that you have within you. And I'm saying to you, go there and do it. It's about those relationships. Surround yourself with people who have kindred spirit, or with kindred spirit. People who are thinking like you want to go, or like you in terms of going wherever you want to go. So who do you want to be? Then choose people. They were saying, someone said, it was one of the guys as well by the name of, I think it was Howard Thurman, who said, there are two primary questions in this world. And if you happen to confuse or mix them up, you'll be in trouble for the rest of your life. And those questions are, number one, where am I going? And then number two, who will go with me? But if you ever happen to mix those questions around, you'll be saying, who will go with me? And then everyone will say, me. And you look at them, maybe in terms of the looks, and you just grab one and say, we're going to go with me. But when you get on the other side, you say, where am I going? You find that you're going to Cape Town, and you know what? You are given the keys of this chopper or helicopter to fly down to Cape Town. But now you're stuck with the guy who can't even ride a bicycle because you asked the questions wrongly. You're stuck with this person now. You've got the keys, you've got the chopper, and you've got yourself, and you can't go anywhere. But if you ask yourself a question first, where am I going? They say you're going to Cape Town. How am I going to get? No, you've got the chopper there. When you go outside, you say, I want anyone who can fly a chopper here, who's licensed. And then someone will raise 1 out of 1,000. And then you grab that person, he's the right person. The reason why you are so much in trouble is because we are mixing things around. We are asking the question, who will go with me first? And then you are stuck when you know where you're going. I'm going to be wrapping up. And in terms of that, this is the lady by the name of Diana Nayed. Diana Nayed is a Greek American. At the age of 63, in 2011, she swam from Cuba to Key West, which is about 177 kilometers apart. She swam for 55 hours in the sea. And she had given up on a dream when she was 30 years old. But it kept on haunting her until when she was 61, she tried, she failed. She came back at the age of 62, she tried and she failed. And at the age of 63, she built a stronger team and she made it. And the world was so taken aback, and they asked her a question, but Diana, how did you make it? And she said 3 things. Number 1, she said, you are never too old to live your dreams. And number 2, she said, never, ever give up on your dreams. And then number 3, she said, it always appears to be a solo act, but it takes teamwork. You cannot do it alone. You need a team to do what you need to do. And ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about friendship, this is one of the boats. It spends its time on the sea. And there's something that hangs on the boat, it's called the barnacles. The barnacles are some animals that sort of like get stuck on the surface of the boats. And the barnacles, they build up because they've got a high reproductive system. And sooner or later, they sink the boat or the ship. And it starts to use more fuel, and it becomes slower as it's supposed to, when it moves. So this represents the types of or kinds of friends that you may have around you, that are always sinking you, draining you every day. Not bringing out the best in you, but bring out the worst in you. So maybe it's time that you need to go back and fire them all and start from scratch. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time that you need to go back, fire them. They're adding any value to you. And then I'm saying, as I'm closing, ladies and gentlemen, that I want you to look at yourself as this orange. When you take the orange and cut it open, there's orange juice inside. You can see it. But until you squeeze that orange, there's no juice that will come out. But if you squeeze it a little bit of juice is going to come out. But if you squeeze it a little bit more juice is going to come out. And if you squeeze it a bit harder and more juice will come out. And it means for juice to come out, there must be some cutting, and there must be some squeezing, and there must be some pressure. That's exactly what happens with you, ladies and gentlemen. You are born with gifts, talents, and abilities within you, but without any pressure, without any squeezing, without being uncomfortable, people laughing at you, people criticizing you, people rejecting you, and becoming the minority of one, and people saying it's going to be hard, and when you are prejudiced against, it simply means that without going for those four things that are called crap, which is criticism, which is rejection, which is hard work, and which is being prejudiced against, it means you will never get to achieve your dreams. If you feel comfortable wherever you are, you must be seriously worried, because it means there's no squeezing, there's no juice coming out. So I'm saying to you, embrace pressure. Embrace people who are challenging you because they are bringing out the best in you. And I'm saying, just keep on being committed, because when you are committed, that's exactly what other fruits go through. Just imagine, how do you get apple juice? It goes through crushing. How to get a grape juice? How to get strawberry juice? It's not nice for the strawberries to get juice out of them because they are squeezed. But you want to have your dreams, you want your happiness, but you don't want pressure. You want to be okay. People must just bring it to you. It doesn't work like that, ladies and gentlemen. And as I close, I would like to say to you, you need to commit to your dreams. Why? Because until one is committed, there's hesitancy. There's a chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. That concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one element of truth. That ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. And all sorts of things occur to help one that otherwise couldn't have occurred. And a whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance that no man could have dreamed will have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it now. Why? Because boldness has got genius. Boldness has got magic. And boldness has got power, ladies and gentlemen. Without power, this friend of mine who passed away 5 years ago, his name was Mark. And I spoke to him. He had gained some weight. And I said to him, my buddy, why don't you go back to the gym and just trim off some weight and some fat? He said to me, no, but Veli, you know me, my buddy. I'm big boned. I said, are you big boned? He said, yes. I said, but I've never seen a big bone skeleton. He said, yeah, but you know what? And one day, he collapsed at work. And he was rushed to hospital. And when he got there, he was examined, and he was diagnosed with diabetes. And the doctor broke the news, ladies and gentlemen, that you are diabetic. And as a result of that, you'll have to change your lifestyle. Because if you don't, and he started giving him the side effects of being diabetic, you're going to have high blood pressure. He said you're going to have a poor vision. It means you'll also lose concentration. And the guy was looking at the doctor saying, okay, then what? Finish off now and I go home. And the doctor came and said, and also, you're going to be impotent. It means you're going to lose your power. Lose my power! The man said, and he understood what power the doctor was talking about. And he started, ladies and gentlemen, going for it. And he jogged. He died feeling very healthy and he was okay. So that's a kind of good fear. When people talk about fear, fear is not always bad. There's a good fear and there's a bad fear. The fear that gets you to go and do your things. And I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, you have greatness within you. You have gifts, you have talents, and you've got abilities far beyond your imagination. Don't let anyone talk you out of your dreams. This is something that you need to give your life to. This is something that you need to give out all your life and try to work at it, because it cannot just happen by itself. Can you please all stand and give yourselves a wonderful and a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm from Mpumalanga, so we basically had to come over the whole weekend, stay here so we can come in and be part of Get Inspired seminars. It's our first time to actually come and participate. It was a wonderful time we spent with Veli and the rest of the guys. It was quite informative. We really did enjoy. The content was on point. We've gotten a direction how to live a life of purpose for our lives and how to make meaning of where we are and where we're going. And I think basically for anybody that was here and somebody that's planning to come through to be part of this seminars, it is definitely worth your money and it's worth your time. So come through if you haven't come through. But I think for me, it has been a special time. I'm sure my wife can't wait to hear about everything that happened here. So I'm very happy having participated, having received what I needed to receive for today. So thank you very much for having me.
The things that we want, that we aspire to, we don't realize that they're inside of us. So it goes back to the fact that, the speakers were reminding us of the tools that we already have, They're already within us. We just have to look inside of us and then, translate that into our lives.
This time around, it's more about what do I want to offer to the world? What difference do I want to make out to the world? And that's so amazing to me. It's like, a life-changing in a seminar. I'm starting off my life. It's like I have not lived life. So I need to begin life. I need to live life now because it's like life had not had a meaning to me. But now life is going to have a meaning because I'm not living for myself only.
I was invited. Someone surprised me with a ticket and brought me to the Get Inspired seminar.
Couldn't be me.
Well, it was a great seminar, very eye-opening. I'm grateful to the person that brought me here. I would actually do it over if I had to, I'd have it continue the whole day if we could and the whole night. It was really inspiring. It actually sort of like teaches you and taps into the places where it is within you, you have it in you, but I don't know, maybe it's fear or you're not sure where to start. And I think all the speakers actually gave us the tools of if you haven't started, where to start and where to go. And it was really inspiring.
It was very great. I've learned a lot of things about personal development, and I'm going to take a lot of things with me. I'm going to implement them in my business, in my career. And I think this is something that a lot of people need, more especially young entrepreneurs, to be able to get inspired, to be able to get into action, because that's what we lack. So it was a great seminar. Thank you very much to Veli and Get Inspired team.
My name is Mike Kanosi from Botswana. I came all the way here to come and because I'm a business owner, I'm an independent business owner. I had come here to get some motivation, some inspiration, and I can say that what I got from the seminar here was really what I came here for.
I was actually invited to this event by a friend, and it was a last-minute thing, but it was the best thing ever to happen. I couldn't have made the right decision by attending this. The whole seminar was very inspirational, and it motivated me a lot. It made me believe that one is capable of more than what we're actually doing at the moment.
The seminar was so fantastic. We are blessed and highly favored, and I believe if Mr. Ndaba can do it, we also can do it. The only thing that we have to focus on is to change our belief system and our attitude, because our attitude determines our altitude, how high or how low we can go in life. If we believe it, we can do it, we can do it.
Came to the seminar here invited by my friend, actually my sister, Sizagele Hatebe. It was very inspirational, and I enjoyed listening to the speakers, more especially the one that was talking about how to groom yourself and how to stay, to focus on your dreams. And I would actually love if this can be done more especially to our youth, so that we can develop them, because they are the future of tomorrow.
I was very fortunate to have been invited by a friend of mine to the seminar. I learned a lot of things, and I bought both the books, and I'm going to be reading them, and I'm hoping to develop myself personally and my business as well, to learn as much as I can, and I'm sure the books are going to help a lot with it.
I enjoyed the seminar. Yes, the seminar. All the speakers were amazing. I was really fortunate to be here. I'm ready to go take over the world now. I'm ready to go chase my dreams. They've eliminated some of the fears that I've heard, like in terms of going after what I really want to do. So I am really, really fortunate to have been here.
What I've learned from the seminar is 2 critical questions that I will carry with me for life. I won't mix them up ever. I will first ask myself, where am I going? Then later, who do I go with?
It's my first time ever coming to Be Inspired, and I'm really inspired. I actually have the first book, the blue one, and it has changed my life. And the nice thing about events like this is that you get more than what you have come for, because you network with people and you make new connections, and besides the message that inspires you. So it's the end of the day, and it means work for me.
Ndo tangana na Veli Ndaba nga mahola musi ndichirenga bugu yabo ya You Are Born to Win. Ndairenga he bugu yo tutuweza nga manda uri ndive zwine ndavha zwone namusi na namusi ndo ḓa kha ino semina ndiko pfa ndo hulisa zwihulu uri ndive hapa phanḓa ha khamera. Ndi a livhuwa ndi kha ḓi ḓo ṱuṱuwedza na vhaṅwe vhafumakadzi vhane vha vha kha vicinity nthihi na nne. Nṋe ndi mushumi wa nḓuni, muthusi wa nḓuni. Ndi a livhuwa.
I run a little company, Joy Media, and I came through to the seminar because Veli Ndaba is my uncle for one, and I was inspired by everything that he has done, and seeing him moving from being an engineer to being an entrepreneur and to being a motivator and a speaker has been something very motivational for me, especially for people who want to be innovators and people with dreams which are bigger than being where you are, and you want to explore your life and be the best that you are. I'd say that this seminar is the right place to come to, because you get to learn about ways of motivating yourself and getting inspired, and also finding ways to be the great and the best person that you can be, and to build your business, and also to enhance where you are to go to your future. So this is a destiny place, really. It's a place where you can find your purpose and you can find where you need to be, and you will come out of here so enriched. And there's one thing that you will definitely take out there. It's big lessons that will help improve your lifestyle, and that will help you to improve you for the betterness of others. So I will say that don't miss out on these seminars, and if you can catch it in 2017, definitely do come through. And there's so much for you, and there's greatness in this.
I pray you'll be eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to